if you get ILR, British passport, whatever, so far as you have this melanin in your skin, no matter how much you bleach, some white people will never regard you as being from here, even after getting your British passport. Hey, stop that. This video is proudly sponsored by Lemonade Finance. Lemonade Finance is a money transfer app that allows you to send money from the UK and Canada and the US to countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and so many other countries, okay, at no charge at all. You can send money from the UK, US, and Canada to any of these 10 African countries at no transfer charge, okay? And Lemonade Finance has the best rate ever. And when you use the referral code Nanelle, you get 10% of the money you're transferring back into your account. So if you send £100, you get £10 back. If you send £200, you get £20 back, but it's capped at £50. Also, let me show you a trick. You can generate your own referral code from the Lemonade Finance app so that when friends use your referral code as well, you get a bonus, okay? So not just my referral code, you can generate your own referral code as well and share it with friends and family so that they can use your referral code to make their transfer, and then you get a bonus as well from Lemonade Finance. Aren't they the best? It's very secure, the money goes instantly, and they are very, very reliable, okay? So thank you so much, Lemonade Finance, for sponsoring today's video. So I've been trying so hard not to do this video, but I think I just have to, okay? So guys, this thing has been going on for I think a week now, and it's just getting worse. So guys, this is Ngozi, okay? Ngozi Fulani, okay? And this is Lady Susan Hussey. So recently there was an event at the palace, the Buckingham Palace, the palace, like the royal palace, right, in the UK. And this event was about like domestic violence, blah blah blah. So they invited Ngozi Fulani. Somebody might ask, why did they invite Ngozi Fulani? So they invited Ngozi Fulani because Ngozi Fulani has like a charity where she helps African and Caribbean victims or survivors of domestic violence and abuse, okay? So obviously because she has a charity that is doing so well in this area, she was invited to the event at Buckingham Palace, right? By the way, this is what Ngozi Fulani wore to the event. This is what she wore, by the way. So Ngozi Fulani went to the event dressed like this, and she was approached by Lady Susan Hussey. So for those who don't know who Lady Susan is, she was a lady in waiting for the Queen, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth, okay? So she was like a lady in waiting. So if you see, there are so many pictures of them together. She's like more of like part of the family. She's worked in the palace for over 60 years. Like she's dedicated 60 years of her life to work in the palace. And she's also the godmother of Prince William. So it's like, this is a really special person. So according to Ngozi Fulani at the event, you know, she was there, and then Lady Susan Hussey approached her, okay? So when Lady Susan approached her, she just lifted like her hair. Ngozi Fulani has like dreadlocks. So Lady Susan just lifted her hair aside to look at the badge. Guys, how would you feel? Let's break it down like that. How would you feel? Imagine you go to an event and then you're black, and then a white woman or anybody at all approaches you and then lifts your hair to look at your badge. Honestly, to me, it is not an issue. It depends on the way and manner the person did it. So let's say the person came and did like that, maybe with some attitude and some facial expression, looking at my badge. I would think this person thinks I'm not supposed to be here, okay? So the person is wondering where I'm from. That's why they are doing that. But if the person comes and says, oh my God, I love this braids, and lifts it to see my name and says, oh, you're Nanelle, I love your braids, I love it. That's different, okay? So I think, honestly, and we all don't know, it depends on how Lady Susan did it.
Abuse doesn't have to be physical. But if you move my hair without permission, to me, that's abuse.
But she did not end there. A conversation ensued, and this is what has caused everybody talking about it. BBC, CNN, Good Morning Britain, everybody's talking about this, and this was the conversation. Okay, guys, help me decide, or help me judge if this was racism or blacks are just overreacting. This was the conversation. So Lady Susan asked Ngozi, where are you from? After lifting the head to see her badge. And then she said, Sister Space. See, Sister Space is the name of the charity that Ngozi Fulani has, the name of the charity that Ngozi Fulani runs. Okay, so if let's say we've all, so many people, hundreds of people, we've all been invited to Buckingham Palace for a program about domestic violence. Okay, so I guess there are so many other charities or people that runs different charities in that environment at that time. So if you ask me, where are you from? I'm obviously going to think you want to know the charity that I am representing. So obviously I'm going to say Sistah Space, right? Because imagine, like, let's say I'm invited for a program for nurses, okay? There's so many nurses, and then somebody asks me, where are you from? I'll say, oh, I'm from Oxford University Hospital. At that moment, based on the environment and what we are doing there, I'm honestly going to think you're asking me, like, which hospital am I representing? Because it's all nurses and different hospitals or different areas, you understand? So I think that answer, there was nothing wrong with it. So she says, where are you from? And she says, Sistah Space, mentioning the name of her charity organization. And then she says, no, where do you come from? Okay. And then Ngozi was like, oh, we are based in Hackney. I guess it's an area in London, right? And then Lady Susan says, no, what part of Africa are you from? At that point, what's the answer? Oh, I'm from Ghana. Oh, I'm from Nigeria. Oh, I'm from Cameroon. Oh, I'm from Senegal, right? Ngozi says, I don't know. They didn't leave any records. And people are attacking Ngozi, including black people.
What part of Africa do you come from? Okay, so there's a clue here. Because Miss Fulani says, I don't know. They didn't leave any records. All right, so that's rude, right? That is already rude. This is ridiculous. And somehow Marlene, what's the face, has the transcript of the conversation. Did she record it? Now she's everywhere and claiming racism. She said the exchange left her feeling traumatized. What? She runs a domestic abuse charity. Come on. What I find more traumatizing is the way she made a meal out of answering a pretty standard question posed by an 83-year-old woman about her heritage. Asking someone where they're from is possibly the most common global icebreaker question ever.
And it saddens my heart that people don't understand that answer. See, Ngozi is from the Caribbean. Okay, and if you know a bit of history, people from the Caribbean, they know their ancestors were picked as slaves from Africa, but most of them don't know which African country in particular they are from. So it's like asking a black American or an African American in the US that, oh, which part of Africa are you from? He's obviously going to say, I know my ancestors are from Africa, some parts of Africa, but I have not done the whole DNA and genetic and whatever check to know that it's actually Nigeria or it's actually Ghana or wherever. I don't know. Okay, so if a black American or African American gives this answer, we all understand, right? It's the same with the Caribbeans. Their ancestors, their great-great-great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers were picked as slaves from Africa and placed in what we call the Caribbean now, and now they intermarried and they formed kind of like their whole community or whatever there. Okay, so although most of them, they know this history that they were picked from Africa, they do not know exactly which part of Africa they are from. So if she says that, I don't know, they didn't leave any records, honestly, she's not trying to be cheeky because she's from the Caribbean and she doesn't know exactly which African country her great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was picked from. Right. And then Lady Susan says, well, you must know where you're from. I spent time in France. Where are you from? At this point, I don't understand why Lady Susan was still going on, because once Ngozi gave you that answer that they didn't leave any records, then that means either she genuinely does not know or she does not want to say. So you just go away, right? You just stop. But it's like Lady Susan wanted her to mention a country in Africa. She was sort of like persisting, because why would you say, well, you must know where you're from. I spent time in France. Where are you from? People are also arguing that Lady Susan is an old woman. I think she's 80 plus, right? And people are saying that old people, you know how they are. Sometimes they can leave a conversation lingering on for so long. They don't know how to back off. They just like to talk. They are too old, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I don't think so. One time, a resident, I was I was attending to, in the morning, I was doing night shift, so it was like the next morning, like maybe 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I was attending to her, and then she was like, from nowhere, she was like, I'm sure you can't wait to go home. You must be really tired. You can't wait to go home. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, maybe she thinks that maybe I look tired from the face, so I can't wait to like close from work to go home. That's what I thought she meant. So I was like, yeah. And then she's like, where is home? And I was like, East Belfast. East Belfast. I mean, at the time I had an apartment there I was renting, East Belfast, right? And then she said, you know, that's not really your home. Where is your home? That's what she asked me. And this is a resident that in our records is confused. She knows. See, no matter the documents you have to show that you are from here, some people, some white people will never, ever accept you are from here. And as black people, we should put that in our minds, okay? Even if you get ILR, British passport, whatever, so far as you have this melanin in your skin, no matter how much you bleach, some white people will never regard you as being from here, even after getting your British passport. Do you guys remember the story of that man? This was also like a very popular story, I think earlier this year or somewhere. He's black, right? But he has his British passport, and then he traveled, and then he was getting back to the UK, and he was denied entry basically because they said there was something with his photo. His photo did not look like him, blah, blah, blah. I'll leave links to the story in the description so you can read it for yourself. He has a British passport. They just said his photo did not look like him or something like that. They denied him entry, and this man died days after. There was that story. Okay, do you think if this person was a white person, they wouldn't have been allowed to enter? I mean, you can allow the person to enter and then track the person, and then later, if you think the person was a scam, you arrest the person, right? Because the person has a British passport, and I don't think that was the first time the person had traveled with that. You deny the person entry, the person went to die. Think about it. It's like no matter what we do, even if we get ILR, we are still not really regarded British by most people or by some people. It's sad, but that's the reality. But then I also want to tell my black people or my African people or my Caribbean people that honestly, I don't know why some people, for Ngozi's case, I understand, but I don't know why, let's say even after you get your British passport, if somebody asks you where you're from and you say, oh, I'm from Northern Ireland, and the person says, oh, I don't mean where you live, I mean like which part of Africa are you from? Be bold and proud to say Nigeria, be bold and proud to say Ghana, be bold and proud to say wherever, because that's where we are from. And that's the answer that they are looking for, you know, to cut all these things short. Anyway, what is my point? So my point is that even if you are born here, even if you have a British passport, so far as you have black skin, or so far as no matter how much you bleach, like some people will not accept you from here. So just give them the answer they want and then end of conversation, honestly. Back to the conversation. So she says, well, you must know where you're from. I spent time in France. Where are you from? And then Ngozi says, here, the UK. And then Lady Susan says, no, but what nationality are you? And then Ngozi said, I am born here. I am British. British, for the way. Then Lady Susan says, no, but where do you really come from? Where do your people come from? And then Ngozi says, my people. Lady, what is this? And then Lady Susan says, oh, I see I'm going to have a challenge getting you to say where you're from. When did you first come here? And then Ngozi says, lady, I am a British national. My parents came here in the 50s when? And then Lady Susan interrupted and said, oh, I knew we'd get there in the end. You are Caribbean. And then Ngozi was like, no, lady, I'm of African heritage, Caribbean descent, and British nationality. Lady Susan said, oh, so you are from... I mean, like, come on now. Come on, Lady Susan. She does not want to accept you are from here, probably because of how you were dressed or how you look. She does not want to accept, her mind does not want to accept you are from here.
You are determined that the answer that I gave you is not one you want to hear. You do not recognize me as British. And until I acknowledge that I am not, you are not going to stop. What do I do? What do I do at that point? So I become silent. And I hope she would go away, and she eventually did. If you ask me a question and I give you the answer, then that's that. Move on to the next question. But if I give you the answer several times and you won't accept it, then let's recognize that there's a problem here. All right? I am very clear. I was not given the answer that she wanted me to give, and so we could not move on. And it was when she said, I knew we'd get there in the end. That proved to me you were determined to prove that I had no right to British citizenship. Now, that reminds me of the Windrush conversation, where 50, 60 years on, people who were born here, worked here, or, have given so much, can just be thrown out. I mean, it's a difficult conversation, but we're going to have it.
That is it. And to me, this back and forth does not matter. And honestly, every African in the UK or every black person in the UK has had this conversation before. Maybe it will not linger on for this long, but we've all had that kind of, where are you from? Which part of Africa are you from? Blah, blah, blah. Honestly, me, I don't beat about the bush. I remember one time I was going for an injection from my GP, and then there were some student doctors there, and they asked me where I'm from. And then I said, oh, I'm from Ghana, West Africa. I'm not going to say East Belfast or... I said, I'm from Ghana, West Africa. And guess what happened? Like, one of the student doctors was like, oh, I've worked in Kofuanochi. Like, it's a hospital in Ghana called Kofuanochi. She was like, I've worked in Kofuanochi, in Kumasi. I was so happy. Like, apparently she's even traveled to Ghana before for, is it internship or whatever. So we now started talking about Ghana, the part she knew and the part I knew. It was so fun. I mean, this was somebody asking just because the person was curious and just wanted to know, not because they want me to know I'm not from here. You understand? So it depends. But honestly, there was a witness. There was another person standing beside Ngozi when this whole thing was happening, and then she said that it was quite bad. Like, it wasn't appropriate the way the lady put it. So I feel bad for Ngozi because blacks are attacking her. How was she expecting to be approached if she went dressed like this? People were saying that already she had an agenda before she was going, because they pulled out her tweets from the past where she was like kind of attacking the palace and defending Meghan and Harry and a whole lot. So the thing is, the monarchies, like, they don't want to be associated with racism anymore. Like, they're tired, they've had enough. So like, they came to issue a statement that they apologized on her behalf, and that they made Lady Susan resign. Somebody who has worked in the palace for 60 years, they made her resign. This means like the palace or the monarchies, like, they don't want that racism tag associated with them anymore, and they tried. Some people are now, black people are now attacking them that, how can you let your own godmother resign? Can't you defend her? Blah blah blah. It's like they don't know what to do with us again. 1 minute we are saying Black Lives Matter, another minute somebody, Lady Ngozi, comes out, and then now we are attacking Ngozi. It's like we are confused. Honestly, I think that Ngozi should have just said I'm from Caribbean from the very beginning, because that's what Lady Susan wanted to know. And also, I also do not like the fact that black people are invalidating the feelings of Ngozi, making her feel like she overreacted, making her feel like she just wanted to pull the wrist card, or she just wanted attention for her charity. Like, people are just being so mean to Ngozi. Is really bad. And I feel like sometimes when things are described like this, if you did not experience it yourself, it'll be difficult to tell how it actually went, because somebody can say, how are you, and in so many ways, the tone, the expression, and the pitch it will make it mean so many things. So far as we were not there, I don't think it's right for us to invalidate her feelings and make her feel so bad. I even heard yesterday that it's like she's closing the charity. People are saying that Ngozi is also racist because her charity only caters for black women and Caribbean women. But listen, guys, there are so many charities, organizations that cater for a particular group of people, and we don't call them racist. Probably she does that. She has hers because she knows that maybe her organization will be able to understand the African culture better, and there are some people in this part of the world that don't like going to white owned charities or whatever, because they feel like they will not be understood properly. They want people that are like them to listen to them and help them. You understand? So I don't think that's racist in any way. Guys, do you think Ngozi was overreacting? Do you think everything is right? How do you feel about this whole? Did Lady Susan go a bit too far? Do you think she's just an old woman, an innocent old woman? Because honestly, people are saying she's not racist because there are pictures of her with one of the palace guards who's clearly black, and they've locked arms together, and it's like they looked happy. So like, there's a picture like that. So people are saying, oh, how can this woman be racist? She just wanted you to say Caribbean, and it just kept going on and on and on and on, trying to avoid the question. And she's an old woman, she didn't know when to stop. But I don't know what to think. But all I'm saying is that black people should stop over attacking Ngozi, because most white people are even saying something for us. They're even saying Lady Susan did not try.
Well, let me be very clear. Those comments in today's age, I'm afraid, are shocking. They're crass, they're offensive, they're racist. That's why Lady Hussey has now rightly resigned. The palace says the comments are unacceptable. They've quickly fronted up to this scandal, and for that they deserve credit. This won't go away in a hurry. It will be grist to the mill.
It's like you kept pushing the person. You just wanted to say Africa when she has a British passport and she's from the Caribbean. And people don't understand this. If it was me, it would be easy. But if it's somebody who's from the Caribbean, they don't know which part of Africa they are from. So that question was a bit too tough for them to answer. You understand? So basically that's all. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. And have you had any such experience before? And yeah, what do you think?